Hi everyone. Sorry I'm a little bit late. Not exactly how I was expecting the first Facebook Live to go, to be honest with you. I got it all set up so that we could go live from our studio at the office with pro cameras and proper lighting and all those kind of things. And then the weather started going really crazy. And over here in London, raining, flooding, all manner of things, and then threatening of 4 hours of snow. So I thought, right, okay, I'll better get back home again and do all those kind of things. So we're doing it from, the first one is from the library, which, there you go, you get to see my library a little bit. That's just one wall as far as that's concerned. So we're just going to do about 10 minutes tonight. I imagine that most of them will be about 10-15 minutes because I know you're busy and all those kind of things. And we're going to do it every Thursday night at 7 p.m. GMT. So I think that makes it fairly good for people here in the UK, but also makes it good for people in Central Europe, but equally Eastern Seaboard US, Western Seaboard US, it'll be the morning there. So you should be able to schedule 10 or 15 minutes out of your busy schedules to be able to do this. And what I intend to do is to, on a weekly basis, answer your questions about NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, Huna, all of those kind of things. I can see people joining. We currently have 13 people on the live. I don't actually know who they are. I can see Carmel there. I can see Debbie from the Netherlands is here too, which is great. John Cummings as well. Hi, John. I saw Claire earlier was on the live video, which is all fantastic. So if you want me to answer a particular question for you, then all you need to do is to PM me, send me a personal message during the week, and I'll go through all the questions. And what I'm going to do is see if I can answer all the questions in one session of 10 or 15 minutes, which will be pretty good. There's Claire Bridges. Hi, Claire. Just speaking to James a minute ago. And Louise Dealey. Hi, Louise. Great to see you. I haven't seen you actually for years, so that's great as well. So I chose the topic for this evening's live Facebook broadcast. Sally's just joined as well. Hi, Sally. And one of the questions I get asked more than anything else is, why don't I just teach NLP? There are people who do NLP practitioners, and there are NLP practitioners and master practitioners and trainers and all those kind of things. And right from the outset, I've always done more than just NLP. And so people ask me, why do you do it? Hi, Tracy. Hope you're well. That's, a question I get asked a lot. So I thought I'd answer that right from the start. Because right from very, very early on, I've always taught NLP with timeline therapy and also with hypnosis. And then a few years into the performance partnership, around about 1995, oh my God, Maria's joined too. Hi, Maria. Then I started teaching Huna. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of, and James is here too, is a little bit of background as to how that happened. So in 1990, I came across NLP as a result of Tony Robbins' Unlimited Power. And I absolutely loved it. It was just so out of this world for me. And I used a lot of things in there. And I also got introduced to what might be called more spiritual, more magical things as a result of Stuart Wilde. Unfortunately, Stuart died a couple of years ago with his books, The Trick to Money is Having Some, and The Quickening, and Miracles, and those kind of things. And also through books like The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, and those kind of things. Interestingly, I later discovered that the books on the Way of Peaceful Warrior were actually about Huna. And I always thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could create something that brought together NLP and spirituality? Because I was using the NLP stuff and getting great results, and I was using the spiritual stuff and getting great results. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could bring these two things together, NLP and spirituality, NLP and magic, because I was getting different results with different things. And then I came across a little book called The Secret of Creating Future, which was written by a very good friend of mine, a teacher and trainer and mentor of mine, Tad James, called The Secret of Creating Future. And I read this book and I thought, this is it. This brings the whole thing together. So in 1993, I decided that I wanted to go and learn NLP from Tad, which I did in Southern California in May 1993. And my intention at that point in time was that I was going to become the world's best sales trainer as far as NLP sales trainings. And I did the practitioner training, and my entire world changed in 7 days. Now, I know many of you have done trainings with me, and you know what that's like. You know that your entire world can change in such a short period of time. And it did. Really massively changed. And my whole idea about what I was doing also changed. What my entire purpose was. So, and I got introduced to Hawaiian Huna. And I decided it was something that I needed to go and learn and go and train. So let's talk about how we can. Here's Mike Walton, who did his trainers training with Tad and Adriana. Fantastic. I'm just talking about Tad now. And so let's talk about that and how these four things: NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, and Hawaiian Huna actually fit together to create a very, very powerful mix. So with NLP, what I discovered was one of the most powerful ways of actually learning how to run your own brain. I think that's the thing. You know, everybody says you got this thing between your ears, which is one of the most powerful computers on the planet, but nobody knows how to use it. You didn't get an instruction manual. So NLP teaches you how to run your brain, how to run your mind. It's like an instruction manual for the mind. Brilliant. And it's very conscious mind. And it's also very scientific, it's very analytical, it's very procedural. It was designed as that quite deliberately. You know, a number of people have said to me, why isn't NLP more spiritual? Well, it wasn't meant to be spiritual. So complaining about NLP and saying it's not spiritual enough is a little bit like going to see a tragedy and then complaining it didn't make you laugh. You know, that's just the way things go. So very, very great for, you know, the thing I love about NLP is you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, and you get this. Brilliant. Then we've got hypnosis. Now, hypnosis is included in my training, and for me, hypnosis was just what you see on the stage with Paul McKenna, getting people to speak in alien and those kind of things. I thought, you know, entertaining, looks like quite a lot of fun, but I can't imagine how I would ever use hypnosis, let alone in my business, let alone my overall life. And the things I learned from my first hypnosis training, actually I would say I use on a daily basis, because what hypnosis is about how do you go about communicating with someone else's unconscious mind or even your own unconscious mind in a really powerful way. You know, the whole idea is having a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And how do you actually interact with this unconscious mind and get it to do the things that you want it to do? That's where hypnosis comes in. And, you know, I use hypnosis for myself personally. We call it self-hypnosis. And I use hypnosis techniques every single day when I communicate with other people, whether it be on the telephone, whether it be in writing, whether it be face-to-face, one-on-one, or whether it be, you know, on the stage. And in our Masters of Influence training, I actually show videos of where we can demonstrate that the likes of Barack Obama, obviously big star in the news at the moment due to his leaving of the White House, how we could actually say that he was using exquisite hypnotic techniques in his presentations in his run-up to his first election. So hypnosis is way more than most people think. Then we got timeline therapy. And timeline therapy really totally blew me away. I'd been into other forms of change techniques like psychodrama and all of those kind of things. And the whole notion of being able to assist someone in letting go of negative emotions from the past like anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, limiting mindsets like I'm not good enough, I'm wrong, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not educated enough, in the matter of hours, comfortably, without any wailing and gnashing of teeth, was quite a revolution for me. And to the point where I didn't really believe it was possible. But, one of these things that changes your beliefs forever is when you experience it for yourself. And on my practitioner training in May 1993, I experienced letting go of all my anger, my sadness, my fear, my hurt, my guilt, and a major limiting decision of I'm not good enough in the space of an afternoon, including some really significant emotional events for me. And then, I had a phobia of bees and wasps, and I was in Southern California, and the bees there don't go back to a hive, they go back to a hangar. And I was not comfortable. Everybody wanted to go outside, eat outside, all of those kind of things. And I was not in a comfortable way at all. And I said to one of my fellow delegates on my practitioner training, please, will you use timeline therapy with me to get rid of my phobia of bees and wasps? Less than 15 minutes later, it was gone. Totally gone. And at that point in time, I'm convinced that timeline therapy is the way of actually having your conscious mind and your unconscious mind work together in the way that they were originally designed and intended to be. It's like the bridge between NLP and hypnosis, as far as that's concerned. And, I've been using timeline therapy now for myself and for literally tens of thousands of other people for the last, what is it now? 24, 25 years now. And the results are what a lot of people would call miraculous, whether you want to use those for yourself or for other people. So now there's this other thing, though. There's this thing called Huna, which is purported to come from Hawaii, and a lot of the things that we teach in Huna do originate from Hawaii, and we can actually prove that. The term Huna is not Hawaiian. A lot of people say that, they criticize us for that. And in actual fact, we're very open about that. That isn't actually what it was originally called. But that's what it's become known as thanks to Max Fried Malone, who wrote some great books on Huna. So Hawaiian Huna really brings in this other dynamic. It brings in the dynamic that we are spiritual beings, that we're more than just thought, we're more than just emotion, we are spiritual beings. And I love a quote from Anthony Robbins in Awaken the Giant Within, where he said, the biggest mistake that people make is that they think that we are a human, a physical being, here to have a spiritual experience. So people seek this spiritual experience. And he said, the thing is, we're actually a spiritual being here to have a physical experience. You were spiritual before you became physical, and you'll go back to being spiritual after you leave the physical. So the real learning, the real key thing is, how do you learn to be a spiritual being, a spiritual entity in the physical world, with the physical trappings of the world, the physical barriers, the physical boundaries, emotions, conscious mind, all of those kind of things. And, I came across Huna actually in a morning session on my first practitioner training. And Tad opened that session with a Hawaiian chant, which we know to be at least 750 years old. And I had a really strange experience. Literally all the hairs on my body lit up like a Christmas tree. I was like, as if I'm plugged into the mains. And even though I knew I hadn't heard the chant before, I knew what the next line was. And at that point in time, I went, I need to go learn Huna. So I completed my NLP training. I became a trainer of NLP and started running NLP practitioner trainings and those kind of things. But I always had this real drive to go to Hawaii and learn Huna. And I did that in 1994. And This really was the missing piece in the jigsaw puzzle for me. NLP, a lot of people teach NLP as just the conscious mind. Personally, I think NLP works because it worked consciously with the unconscious mind. I would actually say that NLP is a form of hypnosis. Then we've got hypnosis. Obviously, hypnosis works directly with the unconscious mind, which is what makes it work, makes it so powerful, which is why we get such great results with it in Fix My Mind. Then there's timeline therapy that really brings together NLP and hypnosis in one integrated system to really have people regain the relationship that they had with their unconscious mind when they were a kid. So that we can have the conscious mind, which has specific things that it does, and the unconscious mind do the things that his does best together, and really integrate these two conscious minds and unconscious minds. But all of the spiritual teachings, all of the magical teachings on the planet have that we have three minds, that there is a spiritual dimension to all of us, which is our higher self. And many people would say that's our true being, our true self. It's who we were before we came into this lifetime, and it's who we'll return back to after we've gone through the learnings of this lifetime. And that's very much what Huna's about. And I've studied many of the spiritual, esoteric, and magical trainings and teachings on the planet over the last 25 years. And I taught Huna in Hawaii from, I think it was 2007 to 2002, which for me seemed like a really weird thing to be doing. You know, this lad from Mansfield going and teaching Huna in Hawaii, a place I only ever dreamt of going to as a result of seeing Elvis movies, and going and teaching this stuff. And then in 2002, I stopped teaching it, and I went back to looking broader than Huna. And there's many of the people actually on this live video chat were there, because I've seen a number of people arrive. I taught this thing called the Wizard's Secret and those kind of things, which integrated other teachings. And I did that for from around about 2004 to 2012, 2014. And I had a really strange experience. I was in Malta teaching the Wizard's Secret. I was in one of my favorite places, looking over the marina in Porto Masso, having my breakfast. And I just got this knowing inside of me that said, time to go back and teach Huna. And I went, nah, it's not going to happen. And then within 5 or 10 minutes, a Facebook message comes through on my iPad, and it's from a friend of mine, Maggie Connor. I don't think she's on the call, in Hawaii, and it said, hi, Kavika, which is Hawaiian for David. For some reason, you just popped into my mind. And I thought, nah. And then that Christmas that year, I think it was 2015, that Christmas, Maria is actually might still be on the call here. My girlfriend said to me, "I'd like to go to Hawaii. I'd like to go and learn Huna," and because he'd heard lots of the stories. And I said, "Well, you know, I haven't been for 14 years. I don't know if I can go back. I don't know if it's right for me to go back and all. Even though I got this thing, this is the 3rd time now, and I have a 3 times convincer." I contacted my friend Matt James and said, "Hey Matt, you know, I'd like to come out to Hawaii. I'd like to do the Huna training." And he said, "Oh, it'd be great. It'd be fantastic." And so in March, Maria and I went out to Huna. We had a wonderful time, fantastic time. Matt said, "Well, since you're here, would you mind doing some teaching?" And as those of you who know me, I love teaching, and I did. I taught some stuff on the Huna intensive, and the feedback was great. So as a result, Matt and I got into conversation about how we might make that a permanent fixture on the agenda at the Huna intensive every March and September in Hawaii. And so we're making it happen. In fact, a number of people who are on this live video are coming this weekend to London for an introduction to Hawaiian Huna. So, you know, as I say, many people have complained or criticized NLP for not being spiritual enough, and it was never designed as being. So really to get a full spectrum of tools, techniques, belief systems, all of those kind of things, I discovered for me personally, and it's just me, that I needed to move beyond NLP. I needed to move beyond NLP to hypnosis. I needed to move beyond hypnosis to timeline therapy. And I needed to move beyond NLP, hypnosis, and timeline therapy to something of a more spiritual dynamic. And I am coming back to Huna because of the way it makes me feel, the way it re-energizes me, and just the sheer delight in, from a Huna point of view, we'd say it was Pono. It just feels very, very right. So in all of our trainings, which we're now starting to think about this in a broader perspective, and thinking about it as being of influencing self first and influencing others second, then we've now started to bring in the areas of NLP, of hypnosis, of timeline therapy, and Huna, with this sole purpose of enabling people to influence themselves so that they can create the kind of lives that they want for themselves in the future, but also influence others to enable them to do the same thing. It works really, really well. And the feedback we've been having for the last year since we've really started doing that would testify that not only does it feel right on the inside, it feels right on the outside with the feedback from other people. So that's where we're going. That's the reason why I wanted to start doing Facebook Live. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but wanted to have a reason for doing it rather than just going live and chatting and all that kind of stuff. So every Thursday, as I said at the beginning of this call, 7 GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, then we will be doing Facebook Live for around about 10-15 minutes. I have no idea how long I've been going. I've been going for 25 minutes. I can talk for too long. And then, the topics I want to be driven by you. I can come up with topics that interest me, but I want to know what you want to know. What questions do you have about NLP? What questions do you have about hypnosis? What questions do you have about timeline therapy? What questions do you have about Hawaiian Huna? Just personal message me on Facebook. I think that's the best way to actually do that rather than email me or text me or phone me. Personal message me here with your questions. And a challenge that I first came up with when I did a live event called Everything You've Ever Wanted to Know About NLP, Hypnosis, Timeline Therapy, and Huna, but were afraid to ask, was that how would I take everybody in the room's question and answer them all in one go? In NLP, it's called chunking up. So that's my challenge to me personally. I like to continue to challenge myself. I like to continue to learn new things, new ways of doing things. Send me your questions. I've had one question already, which I will put into one because I think it's an interesting question, which was how, from an NLP point of view, did Donald Trump win the election? I don't think that's going to be a contentious session at all, judging by the way my friend Greg Secker was treated earlier today when he put his opinion of those kind of things on Facebook. So I will answer that because I've got some very distinct ideas which are non-political in any way, shape or form. They're totally structural, they're totally NLP. And the interesting thing, the parallels between what happened here in the UK with Brexit and what happened in the US with the election. And, these are things, whether we like the result or not, we can learn from them, which is what I believe is the most important thing. We might not get the result that we want, but we can always learn from it. So I will learn as much from the questions that you send to me as the answers that I give you. So I'm really excited. The sessions won't always be from the library. That's just due to the weather and various things that went on. So the phone propped up on books rather than a HD Pro camera on a tripod with proper lighting, but I think it works anyway. Sometimes, like next week, for instance, next week our session will have to come from our Fix My Mind Elite training, which we're doing next week. So sometimes it will be from the training room, sometimes it will be from home, sometimes it will be from the office, sometimes it will be from the studio in the office. During March, 2 of them will have to be from Hawaii, unfortunately. So wherever I'm in the world on a Thursday at 7 GMT, there will be me, David Shephard, going live. And I really hope to see you all and to build up the numbers of people that we get come along to this. We've got 31 people, which is 32 now, actually. I'm sorry, we're just finishing. That last person who joined is just going to get to see the tail end of this. But of course, with live, what you get is you will be able to watch this video on my wall, share it with other people if you think it would be of value and use to them, because it will be there on my wall forever. So I guess there'll be a Facebook Live on a weekly basis. Thank you for joining me. It's been great. It's been an interesting challenge for me doing the first one. I'm sure other ones will be easier, and I really hope that there's been a value for you and interest to you. And I look forward to seeing you again on Facebook Live and also on one of our live events. Thanks for being here. Thanks very much. Bye.